Hello, I'm ABX and welcome back to episode 306 of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is a Let's Play where we've been playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the console, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. I mean, how do you think I got such a flat land? Lots and lots of destruction. So in today's episode, I'm going to be watching the sunset with all of you. That's right, we're going to have a moment here, and then, more importantly, I'm going to be using those banners that I collected maybe 2 episodes ago now, because I finally had a use for them, or at least an idea for a use for them, that I wanted to kind of work on today's video. Again, this is one of those big projects that's like probably going to take some time, so I just wanted to kind of get some baby steps moving towards it today because I wanted to turn the giant cobblestone cube into something finally. I kind of liked it being a pointless cube for the longest time, but I actually had this like rather interesting idea as something to do, and then I realized it worked perfectly inside the cube. And in case you can't put together, you know, again, maybe it's not obvious, but I want to use the banners, so maybe that makes it obvious, but I want to use these banners to kind of make a end place but inside the cobblestone cube. So if you're curious as what I mean by end place, I mean that cobblestone cube is pure darkness on the inside. I mean, not pure darkness, but as dark as you can reasonably get, because there's no way light can get in, and it's quite fascinating to see. In fact, shall I just show you the inside of it? Because I think it's like, again, it's an experience to see. Most people don't have these giant blocks in survival, at least, and I think even though, you know, it's fascinating to see by itself, but it kind of just inspires me whenever I look inside there, like, ooh, it's just this spooky dark thing. So I figure, let's first actually take off these boots. So I figure what would be kind of interesting is if we went inside, so let me just show you, for the record, let's just give it a quick look. Shouldn't be using this pickaxe because it turns stuff into water, but if you look on the inside, it looks like this, and although as you can see, light tries to get in, like this, there's some weird lighting glitches that do happen, like over there, you can see something's going just a tiny bit wrong, but although that does happen, I think it's otherwise like this rather interesting darkness effect, where like it looks like something's going on there, and you know you're inside a cube, but it's the most darkness you can reasonably create in an overworld. Again, this took so long to build, even with the blocks, which made me think, like, wait a minute, we have this big dark area, and now, you know, I have end cities on this world, so I have access to endstone. Why don't I make a big, again, a kind of terraforming project, and do something with the inside of this cube? If you don't know, the Netherrack cube is this giant gold farm, and it's, you know, semi-successful, to say the very least. Like, it's getting there, it's really happening. So why not turn the inside of the cobblestone cube, which is finished now, into something else? So I'm gonna put my banners on this thing. I guess I'm gonna, like, make this cobblestone cube go a little bit lower down, so it's not technically a cube, because it goes to the surface of the floor, but, you know, make it go, like, as low as it needs to go, and then make a end, like an artificial end inside here. That's the goal, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to first of all test the whole cobblestone to the ground thing, because I'm not sure if it does make sense to have cobblestone go all the way down. So we'll test that. We'll see if it looks okay, because it might look just ridiculous from the inside. And then if it does work, if it's all fine, then I'll drain all of the water. So get all of this to go away, and then what I'll put in its place is I'll put some, you know, like endstone above all of this. So we'll get some natural looking endstone. Because my pro tip in Minecraft is if you don't know how to make natural, if you don't know how to make terrain that looks natural, I'd say a good tip is just to take what's already there and just build one block on top of it. Because if we build one block on top of all of this, then what we'll end up with is, logically, we'll end up with, you know, something that looks like real terrain, you know, in endstone in this case, but it will actually be, you know, like, again, made from fresh, basically. No one will be able to know what's underneath it, but it'll look like I just did this really good job, or at least that's the plan anyway. So, yeah, we've got 2 steps that we need to do for this. Again, for today, we need to use our, I guess, our silk touch pickaxe, because we want to get loads of ice, because ice is a good thing. And then we also want to, we need cobblestone to place blocks, and then we also need to take these 8 banners we grabbed earlier and put those on the top. The reason I took 8 in particular is because I figured 2 for each side, like on the corners kind of, should make, you know, give it the impression that it's a cobblestone cube with something end-like going on, but not being too blatant, because I still want it to be a cobblestone cube, just like a branded cobblestone cube, if you will, which sounds ridiculous, but I swear that's what I want. So, as a fun fact, by the way, you might not have known, you can actually put banners on doors just like this, and you can kind of hide the way in, because it's really hard to press the door from behind that. In fact, it might even be impossible, but no, okay, just like that. But you can see how it like looks kind of tricky, and it's a good way to hide your doorways that you might not have known about. Only works one way really, but still, kind of a fascinating little thing. So yeah, let's grab ourselves some cobblestone, let's break this off the door, and let's also get ourselves one more thing, which I guess would, I mean, we need more sponges, but 16 will be fine for now. So let's go make this happen, I guess. Let's grab all the cobblestone in the world, or more realistically, like 10 stacks or something. So yeah, I have a lot of cobblestone in this world. If you want to, by the way, if you want to know the full extent of my cobblestone, because it goes a little bit more than you might immediately expect, we've got, so this chest isn't entirely full, but it's mostly full. Then we got a full chest, then we got a full chest, then we got a full chest, then we've 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 got a full chest. I do this all day, but my point being is it goes all the way around to here, I think, and then it starts to run out. I used to have a lot more cobblestone, but I used it all up to make the giant cobblestone cube, but obviously it builds up again, and that's a thing. So, yeah, I haven't been mining in so long, so I guess cobblestone just hasn't built up. But I have a lot of cobblestone even in spite of that, because mining used to be my favorite thing to do in Minecraft. Like, if I wanted to relax in an evening, because, like, again, I think I still think this kind of works. I just don't do as much anymore. I just like to mine on Minecraft, maybe listen to a podcast, maybe watch a YouTube video or something, and it'd be a really chill thing. Maybe I'd recommend that, in fact. Like, there you go, pro tips of Toycat. Watch Toycat videos while mining in Minecraft, because you don't really need to pay attention, you just need to, like, not fall in love. Wait, did I not get this? Oh, I did get it back. It just turned into a separate stack again. Because, you know, I don't get it. Like, yellow text, white text, what's the difference here? I guess we'll never know. So, I'm thinking here, and then we'll do the same, like, here on each side. So, like, not using the corner blocks. I think that should look pretty good. Again, like, really subtle branding, just to let you know that, like, something end-like is going on here. And if it looks okay, we could put more banners if it's, like, not quite good enough and it looks like it needs more. If it looks like it's just too much, we could always take them off and, like, put them on the top or something. Again, I'm not too fussed about how we do this. I just want to have, like, some tiny semblance of some branding going on there. So you look at it and you think, yeah, maybe Toycat did go to the end. I'm not even entirely certain. So, yeah, we got 4 more banners, we got 4 more corners. So just over here. Again, want to make sure this is the same on each side. Because I feel like in Minecraft, there are certain mistakes you can make, and people will probably never notice them. Like, if you make a cube a rectangle instead, most people won't spot it. But, you know, when you do spot it, it's going to go crazy. But there are certain things that, like, if they're obvious that it's a mistake, no one can live with. And sometimes I think about doing this as, like, a funny troll, like, you know, making a 51 by 50 cube. Or imagine if that wasn't a cube, it was actually, like, a rectangle. Maybe this one is, actually. I haven't checked, so let's, like, give it a very rough run over. But imagine these things were true. It'd be pretty awful to discover, right? And I'm not running perfectly diagonal, so we couldn't be... Maybe it is wider, actually, because I ran a little bit off course. But my point being, imagine it wasn't diagonal. This one, I'm still not even sure. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. When you get past a certain width, it's really hard to prove anything. But it could be diagonal, it could not be, and wouldn't that be funny if it wasn't a perfect cube? So, in fact, let's look back at it now. Yeah, like I said, it's really, really subtle. It's like if you had, like... I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of, like, examples of something this subtle and something else. Like, I don't know, like, when a girl wears a hair clip, looks slightly different in their hair, you know, they can show something off. I knew someone once who, like, always wore, I think it was like a Hello Kitty hair clip, like, good way to show off that you like that. Is it a TV show, or is it just a character? But, you know, if you want to show something very subtle off, that's how you do it. These are a hair clip, but for a cobblestone cube. Boom. Just came up with that on the spot, and it's, I'm sure that's like a perfect analogy. So, now we've done that, we can break our way into this place. And I'm not going to get rid of all the ice just yet, but I do want to get rid of some of it as we go, because replacing this with cobblestone should be an easy thing. Like, oh yeah, let's just place some over here. But it might get trickier as you go along. So I think we'll start with this side, actually, because this side is clearly the easiest one. We don't remove the ice from this side too much. I mean, I already have, so maybe I do want to do that, because... oh no, this was just to prove that you can have boats going over nothing, I think, for some reason. But yeah, let's... I guess we need a constant way in and out of this cube for now. So what we'll do is we'll just, like, mine a hole here. Just because I need a way in and out and I don't want to have to go underwater each time. But this will be closed up later. Like, this isn't a permanent hole. This is just for now. And now what we do is we just mine the blocks along here. So, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's go to the ice right now. Let's go on here. Let's just entirely destroy it. And then let's get some more blocks going on here. Again, if this cobblestone looks too terrible and it's just unbearable, again, I mean, I guess anything in Minecraft can look terrible and unbearable because it's, like, subjective and stuff. Then we'll get rid of it. And if it's not, then it's good. So, yeah, while we welcome this, as always, there's been some things I think about this week. By the way, I know my phone's been going off and making weird noises a lot this last while, and it's it's funny, I've had a lot of, like, theories from people, like, what if it's this, or what if Toycat has a girlfriend, and that's secretly what's causing it, and I guess I like the theories, so keep them coming. I do apologize, though, I know it's kind of annoying, especially when someone has the default tones, which I do for most things, or did until recently. Like when you're either watching a video, you're listening to something, you hear the noise and you think like, oh, is this someone I'm excited to hear from? And you're like, oh, it happened in the thing. It's annoying, it's not good, and it's also just like, I don't know, I think it's like rude in normal circumstances too, like, you know, when like, have you ever been like speaking to someone one-on-one, you know, whether it's a date or just like you're with a friend or something and you're having a heart-to-heart or whatever, even if it's not heart-to-heart, like you're just talking with a friend and, you know, then someone goes off their phone and they're like, oh, let's check that immediately. And this is something like I've spent like so long trying to train myself not to do. And like whenever you see someone do it, you're like, well, okay, that's a nice message you're sending out right there. It's the same kind of thing, and I'm actually gonna like just move my phone over there. It's from my brother, in case you're curious. He sent me a game code for a Switch game, and he just sent us a message saying nice. So Hear that go off again. It's good. It's in the corner now. Maybe you didn't even hear it the first time. That's the dream, actually. The dream is just that I've been talking to myself about nothing for a while, and people are going, you know, I was on board with what Zoicat was saying, but then he started talking about phantom noises. So, if that ever happens, the cool thing about YouTube is if I do start going crazy and talking about things that I generally cannot see, I'll know pretty fast, because YouTube comments, they have no bars held, or no bolt. Is it no hold bars? Whatever it is, but, you know, they don't care about your feelings. They'll let you know when they see something. So I guess that's something reasonable. Anyway, so this week I've been thinking about I guess robots a lot, which is weird to say, but yeah, I have been thinking about robots and automation and stuff a lot, because there's been a lot of like people saying stuff like, or not. Again, I think maybe it's just like a regional thing, but like, I've seen a lot of people, at least on the UK side of things, being like, you know what we really need? We need more robots. Don't ask me why or how or whatever this comes across, but that's something I've just seen, like in my part of the world, in my little bubble. I've seen a lot of like suggestions of like, wouldn't it be cool if we had robots to do this and that? And it's one of those things that gets me thinking, because I see a lot of examples of like robots that just haven't caught on, or like automated machines, let's say. And the biggest one I saw was it's a pub tap. So if you don't know like a beer tap in like a pub, it's a thing, you hold it down and beer comes out of a barrel or something. It's usually beer, but it can be other drinks. But it's again, usually beer, comes out like that, boom, beer tap. But I think you can use them for other drinks. I'm just saying, like, it's well known for being a beer thing. Oh, wait. Before we go any further, let's see how that looks. So, I think, okay, so I'm actually going to go to the bottom. Or, in fact, I'll drain this little section. I shouldn't use cobblestone. You know, I'll just stand at the bottom and pretend. So from here, it doesn't look too terrible, even though we're like some number of blocks below. Yeah, what I have to do here is, this sucks, and I'm going to waste some sponges, but we'll just very quickly see what it looks like for like a split second. Is this terrible? Okay, and it's gone. It's just immediately back. Let's try that one more time. Again, this is very wasteful. Okay, that looks okay. From that literally half a second, it looks good. So again, I'll get back to beer taps in a second, but for now, it looks fine. Let's continue this. I need to work out like a dividing block to drain this, but I guess we'll deal with that as it comes. So now, okay, I guess now we should just get all this ice picked up, and I guess we'll do that now. So yeah, like I was saying though, so there's these beer taps you get in the UK, and every single time I've gone into any place with a tap, even if it's, yeah, again, like it's always like a giant line, and there was like some massive data where they're like 1/4 of people just don't finish their, just don't order drinks, because they're like, oh my god, you have to wait so long to get them, and you know what, they're expensive, I'm not going to. So they were willing to, until they realized it was going to cost them time, and then they didn't. And this is a bad thing for everyone, right? Like, if you're trying to sell beer or whatever you're selling from a tap, then you can't sell it, and so on and so forth. So why did I just bring that up? Why did I tell you the most ridiculously boring story about beer? Well, that's because, basically there's this automated machine that's like, you put your card against it, it contactlessly takes the money, and then you pour the beer, and you get it yourself instantly. And these machines haven't caught on in the UK. I've never seen one, even though it's a thing that exists, and you can, pubs can buy them or whatever, they've never been sold. And the reason for this, at least the reason machines in general, the only reason I ever hear against them is like, sometimes it's just nice to speak to a real human being, you know? Like, I get this on all sorts of things, and I'm genuinely surprised. Like, human beings are awful. Like, let's just say that right now. Like, human beings, we're pretty bad at doing most things. Like, we have to be really careful about, like, removing these last blocks, so. Yeah, I guess I'll remove the ones around the edge first, like this. And then we'll work. Oh, no, I should. Okay, so if water's going to pour in, and it's going to cause problems if I do this wrong, so. We're going to be kind of careful. Oh, I can fly out of water, apparently. Okay, I guess we have to touch the bottom just to undo this. Because pro tip, if you're flying in water and you don't want to waste your elytra, then going to the bottom of the ocean gets rid of that. Just a little tip you might not have realized. But yeah, so staying on my point, I hear people who say, like, they love to, they really want to speak to humans, and humans are their favorite things, and all these sorts of stuff. And then I think to myself, like, that can't really be it, though. Like, is it even human interaction if you speak to someone and you just tell them what to do? I was trying to think about this, like, like, if you tell your servant, like, Joffrey, because, if you have a butler, of course he's named Joffrey, please bring me a slice of turkey from the fridge. I don't know why rich people eat turkey, but you know, if you speak to your butler and you just tell them what to do, is that a real human conversation? I'm not entirely certain. I mean, I feel like, you know, in some situations it probably is, but if you're using that person as a robot essentially, then it's not a real human conversation. It's a again, I feel like it's got lots of benefits when you do that, and I think it's really good. And you know, maybe it's good for both parties. He's getting paid, and it's a good mutual thing. But I think it's hard to argue that you're speaking to a real human when you're just telling them like, oh yeah, do this thing for me. Thank you for doing this thing for me. Here is your money for doing this thing for me. All good. Like I was just thinking to myself like I don't. And this is all situations I think. Like so at airlines if you fly anywhere, so I fly a lot, you probably know, but if you go to like an old style airline, like let's make up some right now, like British Airways or Air France or you know United Airlines, or let's all the random airlines we make up. What they'll do is you have to go to a physical person and you get your boarding pass that way. You can sometimes now like get an app or something, but most of them make you go to their physical check-in desks because one of our selling points, one of the things that costs you money, is that they'll have a physical human to speak to you. And this sounds like the worst thing in the world to me. Like who is paying more money to have a human speak to them instead? And that's a real thing you have to do. So yeah, I just thought that was the most terrible thing in the world. If you're just telling a person what to do and they're just going to do the thing for you, I would say they might as well be a robot. They're just a worse robot because you know what? Robots rarely make mistakes, and you know who does make mistakes? Humans. So boom, 1-0 to robots right there. But I just wanted to kind of mention that because it's on my mind a lot. Like there are lots of interactions I try to avoid, and because when you do speak to a human, you got to be really polite to them. You'll say like, oh yeah, please, thank you and stuff. And I've actually heard that like a lot of like even like people who do these sorts of jobs like to mess with you and like because it's fun, right? Like so for instance, one of the worst ones is if you ever go to like a cinema or a movie theater or whatever, and you say and if you go to one of these places and you like the person says like enjoy your movie, like you're intuitively designed just to say you too because you treat them like a robot, and it's a good like way to realize that, and they're like, haha, we tricked them. And I do this all the time, by the way. Like if like a waiter says enjoy your food, I'll be like you too, and it's like, oh no, you're not going to enjoy your food. You're not eating right now. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. So actually, now that we've done that side and it was kind of effective, why don't we just do this side and move on to it right now? I think now we've proven it works. Let's get some of that done because we have loads of cobblestone that's like weighing us down. It's like generally causing us problems because we can't pick a place. So let's just stop it causing us problems. Pro tip, if something is causing you problems, it doesn't have to. Oh, and also in case you're curious as to why it's so dark, it's because it's like dark in here anyway. But then also there's the whole thing going on. In fact, maybe this episode's like a bad idea because it's not visually good to look at. But maybe that makes it a good like podcast style thing. A lot of people are always asking like, oh yeah, it's okay, it'd be really cool if you did like podcast style episodes or like even just like a full on podcast. And although I have tried podcasts in the past, you've probably seen at least one of them. I feel like a way better thing is like the hybrid podcast thing where you can kind of use it like one if you want to. But you don't have to, you can watch this, and I would recommend it. Like it's, again, I love playing video games and having people watch it. That's why I do what I do, and that's how I accidentally ended up even trying this. And I guess one of the things about that is that, I want to have gameplay there for some reason that's going live. Like, things could happen, anything could happen, and that's one of the things right there. So before I lose it altogether, I wanted to also mention on the subject of, like, if you're just speaking to someone and telling them what to do, is that a real human interaction? Do you think when a king... Okay, so King Henry VIII, let's say. He's the most famous king, right? Probably. If you're from America, which, again, a lot of you are watching this, have any of you heard of King Henry VIII? You probably have. I can't say for certain, because... I've never, I never speak about, historic kings and queens of the UK to Americans, but I'm sure you've probably heard of it, so let's just assume you have. So, King Henry VIII, one of the more famous kings, also well known for, like, he had, like, a bunch of wives. He had 6 wives, in fact, and the famous rhyme for knowing them is divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. I think that's what it is, but, yeah, so you can memorize what happened to his wives. Pretty cool stuff, right? The only people who had more wives than him, I think, was, like... a dude called I think it was Ivan the Terrible of Russia. There's a few dudes who had more wives than him, but he had like some of the most in modern history, and that's a fun thing to do, right? It's fun to have lots of wives. Anyway, the reason I bring him up is because King Henry VIII was like known for just being, I guess, like a bad human being, and using that power of like, oh yeah, well, I can have you literally killed if I want you to get good things he wanted out of life. And that's fine, I guess. Like if I was king, maybe I'd do that. But I think it's kind of wacky when you think about it. That, like, in the UK we had this system of kings. Like this is just one of those like accepted facts about the world that doesn't seem like it probably should be, right? It's like, oh yeah, so why did you have kings again? And you just kind of say like, oh yeah, because someone once fought some battles and decided to be king, and I guess we kind of went with it. And it seems really weird, like that, you know, like for so many years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, we just accepted that like, oh yeah, because this guy's the descendant of this guy, who's the descendant of this guy, that's how people decided kings. But it actually worked. Like I think I've even heard, in fact, that like dictatorships or like monarchies, like one person just deciding what to do, was actually the best way to get things done for a certain amount of time. And you know, like you could even argue today, like, why don't we get the queen to do stuff? But no, that's not a realistic argument. These days, in case you're curious, it's not. But I think it's like quite interesting that like, yeah, at some point that kind of happens. But then, you know, you think it's crazy, like, no, I'd never accept a king. I'd die before I about him. But think about the practicality terms of like, if there was a king today and you didn't accept him, oh, the ice is melting the water and that's what's causing the problems. So let's stop that being a thing. Or let's just break the ice around here really fast and unfit can melt. There we go. Problem solved. Because if ice melts naturally, it causes you problems. So just don't let it. Pro tip, don't let your ice melt. So yeah, staying on my thought though. So yeah, I think though about how people act around celebrities, for instance. Well, I don't want to say people act like stupid, but a lot of people do just like accept like, oh yeah, this person did a cool thing. Think about like Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you did meet him in real life, right? And you saw him, you'd be like, oh, you're so cool. You're the person who did this and that and whatever. And he is like an impressive human. Like in his lifetime, he's achieved more than average. But I mean, he's a human just like you. Should he have power over you? I mean, you might say no and he doesn't, but in a way he does. But if he did, imagine like you're like, oh yeah, so our king, he starred in this movie. And you know, think about like the North Koreans, for instance. They really believe that their king, their, what's his leader, total leader, grand leader, doesn't poop. I believe that's like a real fact. Again, I don't know if it's like a sarcastic one that I heard once, but I'm pretty sure that is real. I'm, again, not 100%, but some decent percent sure. So, you know, imagine there was this dude who was like, imagine you thought he had starred in all your favorite movies and he'd caused world peace and this and that. Even think like 50 years ago, how much people used to love like the leaders of countries. Like think about how much people loved George Washington, the first president of the United States. And then you realize like, oh yeah, so if we just were told from an early age, like, well, he rules you, and if you don't want him to, then you will die. Then you kind of, you know, it makes sense in that way, right? And as a fun fact, actually, before we go any further, George Washington, again, first president of the US, I think, was actually offered, like, a role as king. He just turned it down or something in the end. So, just a tiny little fact you might not have known. But yeah, before I go, though, I also I was thinking about something also recently. While, like, this is a bit, wait, one sec. So I was just kind of looking around, like, because, again, I was looking for, like, clay patches, because you can see there's patches of something else. But I think it's gravel or even ice down there. Like, it doesn't look like clay, but it might be clay. But my point being is I was just looking around for little patches, and I think, I'm not entirely certain, but I think over there we just found a mob spawner. Has there really been a... I'm going to drown. Was there really a mob spawner under the cobblestone cube this entire time? And I just never saw it. I've had this world for just under 5 years now. And... next to my house, this close to my house, like I'm less than 100 blocks away from my main house, my first ever house. I built the 12,000 block structure here, and there was a mob spawner the entire time. I built a giant cobblestone cube on top of a tiny cobblestone cube below water. Isn't that the most astounding? What? How does that even happen? Is it a good spawner? Let's find out, I guess. So there's you know, actually this means because this generated whenever I first loaded up the world, this has a OG like Minecraft loot. I don't know if that loot was better. It probably is just like one coca bean and like the cat music disc, but still we've got the possibilities for crazy loot, or not crazy, like we got possibilities for interesting loot. This is a 2012 mob spawner that we're opening. So it's a skeleton spawner. I think that's a skeleton. It's hard to be certain, but it's a skeleton spawner. And there's at least one chest here. There might be a second one, but I can't see it right now. But there's at least one chest, because there's... The way you can tell is because there's more stands stacked in one place. And in that chest, there is 7 bits of wheat, 4 redstone, 4 string in a bucket. So if you wonder what loot used to be like, you think it used to be better in mob spawners, this is the loot you get from a 20... What even is that? So yeah, that's that's what happened today, I guess. That's that's a thing that happened. And it also goes to this little cave, which literally needs nowhere, actually, which is fascinating. But still, this is the first mob spawn I found in this world in at least a year and a half or 2 years or something. And as it so turns out, that's a bit weird. I tried to turn this off for a long time. But yeah, as it so turns out, there is... What even... Okay, you know what? There are so many questions I have to ask. But for now, that was a fascinating experience. I'm going to keep working on this project, so I hope you did all enjoy this video. As I did so, you can like the video if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like seeing me do crazy big projects like this one. Share the video if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them dead in your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.